All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Colecast Presents Scrimcast Live. TDM taking on Complexity Gaming. Top teams right here, the number 1 and 2 ranked teams in Heroes of Newerth, taking each other on for your viewing pleasure. Complexity dropping game number 1 in the Scrim series in pretty impressive fashion. I mean, the draft there for Trademark, getting Tempest, Keeper of the Forest, Zephyr in one lineup. Moon Queen, I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy how good TDM's draft was in that last game. So, very, very nice drafting over there from MyNuts. We'll see if B-Kid allows them to get something similar this time, and hopefully Complexity can put up a little bit more of a fight, as they just seem to get rolled over in that last game. And we do want to see a little bit better of a series. But of course, this is Scrims. You try out different things here. B-Kid might be trying out a little bit of a different drafting style, perhaps. And of course, that could have resulted in getting out drafted right there. But we'll see in this game. Let's get on into it, guys. This is Colecast Scrimcast. Cole taking on TDM. Blind Ban's going out. Hellborn chooses to ban out Keeper of the Forest, and Wild Soul says, yeah, we're getting rid of those. Parasite and Ophelia on the other side being banned out by MyNuts, so wants to take those gankers off the board. 4 junglers being banned there in the blind banning phase. That's pretty notable. Going into the lock phase, though, we do have Tempest, Glacius, Moon Queen, Bubbles, Wretched Hag, and Draconis. So, interesting. Got the support right there in the form of Glacius. You got some suicides with your Bubbles and possibly the Wretched Hag. Strong carries with Moon Queen and Draconis. And then, of course, you round it out with Tempest, a very, very strong jungler. And you got yourself a recipe for a pretty strong lock pool overall. That is for sure. Now, going into the banning phase, though, MyNuts choosing to ban out Fade, Tundra, and Plague Rider. They blew through the bans pretty fast last time because we got into the game a little bit late, I believe. And so I wasn't quite able to... I don't remember what they were. I know Tundra was in the lock pool and didn't get picked up last time. So, interesting there. But getting rid of the Fade and Tundra, a lot of map control being eliminated from this available picking pool here. And will not be seeing those 2 heroes. Plague Rider, of course, the great suicide hero, able to establish his own lane control with that extinguish ability, and able to really just take most heroes one-on-one in that suicide position. Of course, both Moon Meander and Chessie play a very, very strong Plague Rider. I've even seen B-Kid play a strong Plague Rider as well. Not going to see it this time. B-Kid chooses to ban out Zephyr, Pebbles, and Silhouette. So already says, screw the bird. That's not happening again. Like, that's just not going to happen at all. So that is off the table. Off the table right there for sure. And then, of course, Pebbles Silhouette gets rid of another carry, leaving really only Dark Lady and Forsaken Archer as the super strong carries available in the pool. And then getting rid of the Pebbles for the initiation factor, forcing something a little bit different. So let's get on into the picking pool. We do have Engineer was the first pick from TDM. They go with their 4th and 5th picks as Meraxes, Flint, Beastwood as well. So choosing to run the Flint Beastwood, I haven't seen this in about 2 months since I saw Absolute Legends, formerly known as Fortune Bakery at the time, try to run Flint Beastwood in an offensive tri-lane, long lane with the Flint Beastwood farming, and it simply did not happen. Cookies was not able to connect, but maybe the TDM lineup going to be able to work out a little bit better. Over for B-Kid's boys, the Complexity lineup consists of a Luna Hammerstorm, and they pick up Electrician with their final standard pick, rounding it out from the lock pool with Glacius Draconis. So once again, going without a jungler. Now this is a trend that Complexity's actually been kind of adopting lately. It's been pioneered by some other teams, of course, lately, choosing to move away from the jungle metagame perhaps a little bit. But Electrician being inserted in there as well, just a hero that we don't see too often. But Stay Green had some serious success with that hero last weekend, and maybe Cole looking to emulate that success. So, taking a look at the other team, the lock pick first up was in fact Tempest, and TDM finishes it off with Bubbles. Another strong lineup for them. If you replaced Flint Beastwood with a Moon Queen or a a Moon Queen or a Dark Lady or a Forsaken Archer or something along those lines, then I think their lineup would be very strong. And it's kind of odd that they did leave the Moon Queen not being picked up. I guess they picked up Flint Beastwood a little bit earlier in the lineup, not in the lock pool, and might have screwed themselves over a little bit. So kind of odd because there was the availability of the Moon Queen and the Dragon, and Complexity wasn't going to pick both those up. So why did they need to pick up that Flint Beastwood? Interesting, interesting. Let's get it on though, guys. Game number 2 in this Scrim series should be another good one. Let's do it. TDM going to be running with their jungler, being played by Mynuts, of course. He's going to be hitting the safe jungle most likely. Got Limp on Meraxes, going to be babysat by Insania on the Engineer. Engineer does squeak by, and so Insania, for 2 out of the last 3 games I've cast of him. Actually, I think 4 out of the 5 last games that I've cast of him, playing Engineer. Zai going to do his thing on Bubbles. Alright, so we're going to have a little bit of a pause here as they get their stuff straightened out. And playful banter coming out here as there's definitely a rivalry between these teams, but when they come together to play these scrims, then they certainly are they're both looking to improve and try out new strats and maybe get an advantage going into further competition, but definitely some playful banter with taunts of forfeiting and whatnot. This is, of course, just a scrim cast. Just scrims going on, not tournament games right now. But speaking of tournament games, coming up in about an hour, about an hour, the Sound Blaster Heroes League is going to be happening. Going to have some games going on over there. I think that we might take a look at Druids. Going to be taking on somebody else. I'm not exactly sure who they were playing. I think it was YOLO. I want to say that was the name of the team, as I can actually check that right now. So I think this might be the last scrim that we're going to be casting of Cole versus TDM. We'll evaluate that in a little bit here. But yeah, that's in an hour that game's going on. So if Complexity and Trademark are still scrimming, we might actually do those and then cast a couple of games from the Sound Blaster Heroes League later via replay, because those games will of course be just available a little bit later. But we shall see. So Complexity, currently their lane situation is kind of in flux. I would expect Hammerstorm to be getting his own babysitter, and Draconis probably to be soloing up top. Moon Meander maybe soloing mid, and they would run an offensive tri-lane. That's a possibility. Or maybe a 1-1-2 situation is also a possibility. Flint Beastwood going to be soloing bottom lane. Now this is something interesting. If Complexity does in fact choose to run the offensive tri-lane down here, Flint Beastwood could be in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. That's for sure. With that Glacius, with the Aluna, and with Hammerstorm all possibly being locked down, or locking down the Flint Beastwood. No escape mechanism for him, no stun. He can just straight up die right then and right there. So Noobg's got to be very careful down here in this lane. I'm sure he's just going to walk to this hiding spot as soon as possible, but that's what this courier is actually looking for. And the Complexity team, they want to get a pick right here. They need to move into position just a little bit faster, and they might actually be able to score that pick if they move fast enough. Will they dive into the tower, though? The courier, I don't think it actually just spotted Noob G. No! They were so close to being able to perhaps get a pick off there, and Engineer able to get the ward successfully into this position, so they will be able to spot the Complexity team moving into their lanes now. Hammerstorm staying in bottom lane, currently going to be with Aluna being played by Chessie this time. Franzion Glacius once again. We'll see if he roams to the middle lane or stays in the bottom for now. I think that we'll definitely be seeing a lot of roaming coming out from Glacius and Luna throughout this game. So we'll see. Meraxes and Engineer versus Electrician. I haven't seen Electrician being used too much by Complexity. I've seen Moon play it in a suicide role, I want to say once, about 2 months ago, and actually did have a lot of success with it. But certainly don't see this hero too often, so I'm really excited to see how he's going to fare against the Meraxes and Engineer lane. As Moon might take some early pressure here. Meraxes might be able to get into position. He does not have the Quake leveled up yet. And there's the Keg going to connect, pushing a little bit the wrong direction, though. And that more Axe actually does miss. More axes. More axes. That's so weird to say. The axe misses. That's all you can say. That's all you can say in that situation. It's just a little bit strange when the name is More Axes. And the hero's name is More Axes. So many puns. So little time. Flip Beastwood is going to be soloing against that offensive tri-lane, and we'll see how he fares down there. Of course, I would expect him to die, and if Complexity is not able to get kills on him, not just a single kill, I mean repeated kills, like force him out of the lane, 0-100 GPM farm, then he's going to be in trouble. Well, now he's certainly in trouble. Power Throw comes out, auto attacks are there as well, and he will go down. Franzi taking the brunt of the damage from that tower, but easily able to pick up the kill, and that's what I'm talking about. They just really, really need to actually get the kills onto Noob G repeatedly. If he's able to get any levels in farm in this lane, then Complexity is not really doing their job with this tri-lane. Electrician evidently trying to eat dinner over here, being harassed by Engineer and Meraxes, though. Poor Moon, he just wants to eat some food. Oh man, speaking of food, I'm hungry. Wonder if I'll be able to get food a little bit later on before the next casts, but not likely today. There seems like there's actually a lot of games going on today. So I am happy to be here and starve a little bit. Bubbles in the top lane, throwing out a what? Actually using the Shell Surf to pick up a creep kill and then try to get in position. He's out of position now, though, as the Dragon Flame comes in. There's the auto attacks, and Zai getting pretty dang low on HP. He still does have 2 more Runes of the Blight. Luna in the middle lane now going to be doing his babysitting thing with Meraxes, because Complexity has been able to retain their lane control after pushing into the opposing tower. It counter pushed harder than ever, and now they've got good lane control. Flint actually just going to be helping out Tempest in the jungle. Might actually hinder My Nuts in terms of farm and levels, though. So you've always got to be real careful about that one, to actually send that carry into the jungle. But it's also important that Noob G finds some farm himself. Complexity has to be pretty happy with where their lanes are at right now, as Grip goes out onto Meraxes, but actually just baiting out a Keg right there. Moon almost taunting his opponents perhaps a bit. But yeah, Complexity should be pretty dang happy with their situation. Draconis crushing the top. They're at least splitting even right now in the middle, and just there's nothing going on in bottom lane for TDM. Noob G, Flint Beastwood actually going to be roaming, maybe doing a little bit of stacking of Ancients. When you're Flint Beastwood, your hard carry player is having to roam at level 3. It's not what you want to have happen, as Zai will be trying to escape once more. Dragonflight, or Blazing Flight comes in, and where's the auto attacks? One more auto attack might finish off Bubbles. Oh, Zai lives at less than 10 HP. The Flare even coming in now. So Zai going to dual lane this this lane with Noob G. And how about that? That is very, very interesting. A Flare coming in right there. There's the Shell Surf not connecting. A TP coming in form of Glacius. They're going to try to turn it around on the Flip Beast. Well, there's the Thunder Blast. And down goes G once again. Zai perhaps out of position now. And with no mana for a Shell Surf. Never mind, he just got the mana for a Shell Surf. Was not going to be able to get out of there, but no. We'll be okay now. Draconis going to take his trip to town. No health potion available from Glacius. I'm surprised that they just didn't allow him to regen back up with the Runes of the Blight. Instead, maybe doing a little bit of lane swap. I'm not quite sure. Level 4 Electrician as opposed to level 4 Meraxes. The difference maker here is 30 seconds left on a double damage rune for Meraxes. He's currently 24-8 in this lane as opposed to a 12-1 Engineer. And Engineer just does not have his Cleansing Shock yet, as there's the Keg. Quake's going to come out. Double damage auto attacks. There's the turrets as well. And Moonmeander's going to take a fall in the middle lane. Well set up gank there from the TDM squad. Trying to equalize this game out a little bit here in the early game. But Moon going to have a little bit of time to eat his food. That's always the upside to dying while you're trying to eat. You got 45 seconds to try to shove some more food in your mouth. Tempest in the jungle, still doing well. He is currently 395 gold per minute, second to highest farmer on his team, third in the game, and hits level 6 relatively early on. B-Kid might actually be in for some trouble here. I don't know if they're going to have the damage to bring him down. He's quite tanky with that shield and the 1000 HP. And in fact, Minuts just says, I don't think it's going to work. Instead, moves to go camp the bottom rune. Top rune being covered by Engineer, and there's the grip, and now Engineer's going to be in some trouble. The freeze going to be coming out. There's the keg as well. Nice positioning on the keg, and will Insanity be able to get out of there? One of the axes does connect. The auto attacks finishes him off, though. Glacius might be in some trouble. There's the shell surf. In comes the auto attacks. Song of the Sea not even needed. Power throw going to connect onto Meraxes as well, but he will have to just back up. Good rotation from Zai. Good knowledge, knowing that he might be able to get a kill if he does actually come over. And now Hammerstorm might be caught out of position. Here comes the Glacial Blast. The Flare is already out. Flint Beast are starting to pound in the auto attacks. The Elemental Void, but look at the damage, just not there. Hammerstorm just says, okay, I'm going to drop the hammer throw, and Turret not doing anything. Slowed him down just a tiny bit. They're going to go for a dive, actually. Glacial Blast coming in. There's the Flare. Did the Flare even connect? It doesn't look like it, as Aluna is there to try to actually do a flank, but in the end, no, not able to quite set that one up, and a lot of time and wasted cooldowns there from the TDM crew trying to bring down B-Kid. He actually is able to just take those Runes of the Blight, and will start to regen back up pretty healthily. He's the picture of salubriousness, as Hammerstorm and Glacius come in. There's the, whatever this... Speed, what is this called? Galvanize. I wanted to call it Rally. I don't know why. He uses that to close the distance. That made my brain explode. The Ice Imprisonment and the Thunder Blast hammer throw was all they needed. Middle lane axes going out onto Aluna. The keg not going to connect, and Aluna will use the Emerald Lightning. Should be able to save herself for now. The turret going to connect as well. There's the Quake. Aluna still not going to be dying. Will she be able to get away from this, perhaps? She might be able to man up. No, using the health potion instead. Now man's up, and Glacius will find Meraxes. If she had held that power throw, might have been able to get a kill right there. But no, instead, Meraxes will be escaping, at least for now. Emerald Lightning going to be available. There it is. The power throw finishes off Meraxes. Great job there by the Complexity supports, Chessie and Franzi, to get in position and bring down a kill on the TDM Initiator. That's a big, big deal. Noob G on Flint Beastwood in the bottom lane. TDM trying out this Flint Beastwood strategy, and thus far it is the furthest thing from working. G at 1-3-0 and 100 gold per minute. Invisible Minuts, though, in the middle. Might be looking for a kill onto the Aluna. Wants to get into position for that, but going to have to run Aluna down, perhaps. Does still have vision of him, and Franzi got over there. He just placed that ward. No, it had been down for just a moment already, so I'm not quite sure what he was doing with that. As Zai has to use the Shell Surf in the top lane, doesn't want to take too much damage. Hammerstorm down here in the bottom. Never mind, action in the middle. Luna's going to go down. The invisibility rune finally being put to use there by Tempest, and with that kill, they're looking to mount a small push here. Rax is going to lead the charge as these Tempest Elemental minions do want to start replicating relatively soon. I think one more wave of auto attacks, and they should. They will be able to start putting out a lot of damage onto the tower now. And Dragon not exactly in position to start pushing. Speaking of Zai in this top lane, he's done a fantastic job on Bubbles. Maintaining 200 gold per minute, able to be involved in a kill as the grip's going to go out onto Tempest. There's the Quake stun, though. The Keg going to be able to push back Electrician as well. Hammerstorm throw not going to be going out. Needed to use that throw, but canceled it, saying it was the wrong target. Power throw going to go out, connects with Tempest, and Electrician brings him down the electric shield. There's the Hammerstorm throw onto Bubbles. The grip going to come in as well. Shell Surf from Bubbles. He's able to escape. Quake comes in onto Electrician. E will fall. Moon Meander in some trouble. Bubbles falls as well. In the end, it looks like it was a 2-for-1 trade in favor of the Complexity team. Able to defend the tower as well, just out of deny range. So a good job to them indeed. Hammerstorm still farming pretty well. 356 gold per minute. DKid now the top farmer in the game by about a 50 gold per minute margin. Finished up his steam boots, but grabs a chalice. Doesn't look like he's going to be going for Midas this game, as Beastwood's in so much trouble here in the bottom lane. Glacius and Franzi with illusions going to be able to bring him down, and he will fall. Glacius immediately going to be teleporting, wants to get out of there ASAP, and Draconis now able to bring down that tower. After I said what a job Zai was doing up there, does finally give up the tower as he moved into the middle lane to try to set up a counter gank. And Draconis just says, you want to poke me? Like, I'll get into a poking war with you. That's no problem. No skin off my back, Zai. But the MVP of the year just says, okay, well, I'm just going to back off, wait for you to leave the lane, then I'll start free farming it myself. Power throw, cleaning up a couple creeps there and connecting with Meraxes, although with him being as tanky as it is, the level 2 power throw, excuse me, level 3 power throw, just not that much to be feared. As there's the grip onto Tempest. Keg's going to interrupt that one. They're going to drop the Elemental Void right here. No, Tempest is just going to back up. There's the energy field, in fact, and Electrician just goes right through it. One of these trademark players most likely going to die. No! Moon will back up. Doesn't want to overextend. Knows that the tower is available and wasn't sure if TP support would be coming in. So actually makes probably the correct decision in backing up, knowing that they had just wasted the energy field and didn't want to try to go careening through that. Instead, he'll leave it to his team to try to set up a push here. Franzi already has a ward down right here. We'll see where he chooses to place another one. Actually, he doesn't have any in his inventory. He was moving around like he was looking to place a ward. And in fact was not. Complexity Gaming currently up 4,000 gold, 2,500 experience, as Electrician's doing very well in the middle lane, 250 gold per minute. Definitely lower than his opponent, but they did manage to shut down that bottom lane so effectively. And once the roaming started happening from Franzi and Chessie, then the middle lane was certainly doing a lot better. Draconis farming out some triple stacked Ancients at level 11, has finished up his Sustainer, and about looks like 1,800 gold off from finishing up. Now about 1,600 gold off from finishing up his Nullstone. Wow, my brain just does not want to work right now. As there's the portal key on Hammerstorm. Going to be able to use that to get any initiations that he'd like to. Tempest over here as he's trying to get some farm in the jungle. Minot's going for the typical Minot's route, which is whatever he feels like. Going for the boots into a Talisman of the Exile, into a bottle, into Ghost Marchers. So we'll see if he finishes up a Grave Locket or perhaps makes a Ring of Sorcery, whether he's going to go for a push stick or maybe a portal key next. I mean, there's just so many options all the time as Zai does TP in. I believe that TP was in fact scouted by Bubbles. As there's the initiation, a huge take cover though by Zai, leaving that one on autocast. I assume it was on autocast. As there's the TP support. Hammerstorm might be in some trouble himself. Shellsurf's going to go out, and there's the marksman shot from Flint Beastwood. Money shot, excuse me, marksman shot is scout, and good TP support there from the TDM crew to be able to clean up that one. With all the TPs coming into bottom lane, though, Moon, with the support of Franzi, might be, excuse me, Chessie, might be looking to push down this middle tower. No, not going to be doing that just yet. Instead, we're trying to look for that bottom rune, but it is in fact claimed by Meraxes, and just bottles up that regen. Tempest right now going to be trying to go for the last hit on this tower. Will the Ballista get it? Well-timed Ballista, but Noobji snipes it with the Flare anyway. The explosive Flare makes it sound so much more manly when you tag the explosive on the front of it. Bubbles finishes up some steam boots as he's fallen kind of behind. Still at 212 gold per minute, but everybody else around him is starting to farm a lot better. Competing with Draconis, who's now up in the 400 gold per minute range, and I believe should be finishing up his Nullstone at any second now. I have to assume that he's already got the recipe in, because I think he's built more than 700 gold in the past 3 or 4 minutes since he did those Ancients. So I would expect that Nullstone to be finished very, very soon here. But the Courier is still flying around, and perhaps he did not. I don't know. Chessie getting some counter warding done, but unfortunately nothing for him to counter ward. And Moonmeander will be able to take down these triple stacked Ancients with the assistance of Glacius. Moon has gone for the Ring of Sorcery into Plated Greaves build, and excited to see what he tries to go for next, as Chessie does find Strike Gold right there, finds the ward, gets the counter on it, and is able to get out with his life. Happy day, oh happy, happy day. Noob G trying to farm out the jungle, knowing that his early game was so stunted. Still down at 200 gold per minute, starting to recover. But if you tell me that Flint Beastwood is going to out-farm a Draconis and be able to recover against your Draconis, I will tell you that you were full of it. That is unlikely to happen, as double damage Aluna will be coming in right here. Will they be able to set up the kill, perhaps? Oh, Power Throw missing, and Bubbles will be able to escape for now. Almost set that one up. Chessie wanted to make it happen, as there's a portal key onto Meraxes, but not going to be able to get the Quake off on anyone just yet. The Hellbourne team able to retreat post-haste. No, nobody has post-haste in this game, as it looks like that is, in fact, just going to be the first pickup of the Blessed Orb, and Draconis not finishing up that Nullstone yet, as Aluna's in some trouble in the middle lane. She drops the Emerald Lightning, but the money shot finishes her off. She hits the ground. Moonmeander looking for a kill in the bottom lane, perhaps the Tempest, but the Glacial Blast from Minuts are just a little bit too strong. Keeping Moon in position and saying, you are not chasing me down today. Middle and bottom lanes both about half life for TDM's towers, and Complexity looking to start a push here. Turret goes out from Engineer, though, wants to push that back, buy his team more time to get in position, buy time for them to get the TP scrolls, the Homecoming Stones, available so that they can try to defend this tower once they use the Gift of Fortification. Something along those lines, but with 4 players here from Complexity, it's going to require great coordination from the TDM team. They're going to go in on to Tempest right there, and Tempest is definitely in some trouble. He takes the grip, and he goes down. Raxus comes in with the Quake right there. Shell Surf going out. The Kelp Field is keeping B-Kid in place, and they're going to turn it around. B-Kid goes down. Meraxus does as well. Zai's going to be able to go down. Dragon Flame brings down Insania on the Engineer as well, and all of a sudden, Complexity with a 4-for-1 trade takes the tower as well, and they're up 7,200 gold, 5,900 experience in this game. Nullstone finished up on Draconis, so okay, he must have had that recipe somewhere, because he did not just get 1,600 gold from nothing. So finished that one up, and now they're going to be looking to take 2 Flint Beastwood, though, with his Quick Blade in the middle lane, working on that Firebrand and trying to push down this tower. With that haste, it does expire, so he's got to be careful here. Elemental Void is still available from the level 10 Minuts on Tempest, but doesn't look like they're in any hurry to try to defend that tower, as it does just get pushed down easy peasy by the Complexity squad. Hammerstorm picks up a Mighty Blade now. Going to be working toward that Shrunken Head. Should be very, very nice to have. Dodging some of the slows there, like the electric, or the explosive flare, the electric flare. How about that? Going to be very useful against Bubbles, and of course, with Meraxes and Engineer, they're locked down. Turning on that Shrunken Head's a pretty strong counter, so expect to see multiples of those, as we already do have one on the way from Draconis as well. Going the traditional Nullstone Shrunken Head build. As, well, Engineer might be in a little bit of trouble. No, Hammerstorm going to have to retreat for now. Moon wants to get in on this action, instead just trying to draw them in. But, well, Meraxes is coming in. Arcane Shield going to speed him up, actually, as Glacius is in some trouble. Quake's already gone out, and where's the axes? There's the grip, though. Meraxes might get turned around upon here. Money Shot goes out. Glacius goes down. Hammer Throw goes up. Keg not going to connect. As Moonmeander standing tall in the middle of this. Going to walk through the energy field. Shellster, Song of the Sea comes in, and Elemental Void being used. Not even remotely necessary there from Minuts, but they do secure the kill onto Electrician, so I guess that one's worth it. Not, I guess. I guess. Getting Moonmeander down was paramount, and they even got the kill onto Glacius as well, so Franzi just getting caught a little bit out of position there. Moon tries to lend a helping hand, but the whole TDM squad was there to lend a hand to Meraxes. And in the end, TDM comes out on the better end of that scale. Legion team trying to bring down some triple stacked Ancients, and this is one way that you can certainly help to get yourself back into this game. We saw some warding going on here from Chessie a little bit earlier, but when you do have two supports between Chessie and Franzi, I really would like to see that being blocked perhaps a little bit more. And even just using a Ward of Revelation if you don't want to use your regular Ward of Sights. I know it's something that's pretty common with most of these supports, and Franzi and Chessie, I've seen them both do it in the past, but thus far, not in this game, as the middle tower does go down in favor of B-Kid and the boys. Rax is trying to get his farm on in the jungle, and Flint Beastwood starting to farm somewhat respectably, up to 281 gold per minute. Noob G catching up a little bit, has finished up his Firebrand, and we'll see if he starts to work on a Geometer's Bane with a Blessed Orb up next. Kongor now taking a lot of pressure as Complexity Squad, all five in there working on that. Sword right here does give vision up until about this point right here. So we'll see if that has actually spotted the Complexity Squad, but doesn't look like it. Legion team either unaware or unwilling to try to contest that one. Kongor goes down, and the Token of Life to Draconis. He does have enough money to finish up his Shrunken Head as well, and the Dragon's starting to look pretty fearsome. Moonmeander goes into the enemy jungle, says, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Just activates that electric shield, and we'll start to bring down some of these camps. Not going to find any double or triple stacks, though. Those have all been cleared out relatively recently by Flint Beastwood and Meraxes. Moon working on a Barrier Idol. Should be very nice to have the high magic damage output team over there for TDM. Definitely need a Barrier Idol, and Moonmeander is certainly the person to get it as, well, he's in some trouble right there. Quake's going to come out. The Matrix is up. Going to be able to push himself for now. There's the Emerald Lightning as well. Axe connects, though. Needs to emulate B-Kid and drop some more sidesteps in that one. Ran in a straight line and just took the axe to the face. Little bit of fratricide there as brother on brother. Sibling rivalry takes a new form as Meraxes just chops poor little Paula Garza Luna in half with that axe. Poor Chessie. So, Moonmeander doing pretty well. 322 gold per minute. I mean, it's kind of weird to see this graph and say 320. Wait, that's 300. Okay, that's because Hax ends up at 540. The Dragon farming out of control now. Finished up the Shrunken Head, and another 1,600 gold is already saved up. So, looking very, very good for him. Flint Beastwood still pretty far off from finishing up the Geometer's Bane, but he has in fact picked up a Warhammer. So interesting to see that. The options, of course, are Savage Mace, Shield Breaker, and Shrunken Head. Any of those would not be unexpected. The Shield Breaker round will allow him to put out some damage, which would be considered kind of more of an all-in thing. Sinking a lot of gold, 4,600 to get a level 3 Shield Breaker, even 2,600 for a level 1, but you generally want to upgrade that. Otherwise, it's just a really big investment without the hugest of payoffs. So Flint Beastwood, that would be more of an all-in thing, saying I really, really need damage. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to stay in this game. I need to be able to put out some damage while Tempest is in there, ulting everything, and so there it is. Shield Breaker is the choice, and I think I agree with that one. The Shrunken Head I would have disagreed with, and the Savage Mace I think would have just taken way too long to get there, as Minox uses his push step, able to get away, and Electrician kind of in the area, has finished up his Barrier Idol, activates the Electric Shield, and is looking for somebody to pick off. Might find that person with Noob G. G not getting anywhere near this cliff, though, knows that there might be terrors lurking in the dark. In the bottom lane, there's a red power throw going out. Chessie trying to stop the push that's coming out there, but Complexity turning their full attention toward this tower in the middle lane, looking to push that one down. Flame Breath going to be able to clean up a lot of creeps, and there's the Barrier Idol. Tower goes down in favor of the Hellborn. And with that, Franzi able to finish up his Astrolabe, which is going to be a very nice item to add to his inventory. Going to help to keep his team alive in some of these more chaotic team fights. Just throw out that smallest of heals, and it will certainly help. Slayer picked up on Draconis, so not opting to go for the Whispering Helm, which is sometimes the next item in this build. Look how fast Draconis actually cleans up these triple stacks, by the way. Just says, I don't really care about your Dragon Masters. I'm the Dragon Master here. And just brings him down, puts him into the ground himself, and so that will be that. The Slayer going to be working on that Savage Mace sooner rather than later. We'll see the Whispering Helm most likely picked up after that, as Zai shows off his portal key there in the bottom lane. Had that for a few minutes now. 1,500 gold saved up once more. Speaking of portal keys, Minot's about 100 gold off from being able to finish up a portal key, if that is what he should choose, and will be able to get that when he does finish off that camp. No, gets the low end of that Skeleton King scale, and does get ripped off a little bit. Hammerstorm has finished up his Shrunken Head to complement portal key. So the initiation there from B-Kid will be a little bit safer, and they're looking to push down the last outer tower here. Take that map control advantage and then start to resource control their opponents a bit before they are confident enough in their 600 gold per minute dragon to actually finish off the game. TDM very, very far behind at this point, but not out of it. Of course, one team fight in their favor can sway this experience lead completely and take away a large portion of the gold lead. So that's what TDM's hoping for. A big Elemental Void, the Matrax going off. You know, you got to get that level 2 shield breaker on Flint doing work. We'll see. We'll see if they're able to get it done. Shellsurf Song of the Sea inside of the energy field with a turret and a keg. And, you know, it's a lot of potential damage if they're able to make a really, really big Elemental Void happen. And we'll see. Keg's going to push up Electrician, actually. And not too afraid, as the defensive tower is just taking a lot of pressure. Glacial Blast is being used onto Electrician as the tower in the middle lane does go down in favor of TDM. Complexity backing up, waiting for the next creep wave. The Barrier Idol was not used in that one. So we'll see. They pop the Barrier Idol right here. They could be going for it. There's the Barrier Idol. Shellsurf comes out. Absorb. Stun onto Tempest, though. Tempest falls immediately. Meraxes in the middle. He's going to be taking some damage. Draconis damage too strong. And Dragon just brings him down right there. I mean, that could very well be the game. Buyback is available on Meraxes, and he does use it. Activates the Matrax in the back. Blinks in, drops the Quake onto 2. Push staff onto Electrician. Not going to be taking too much damage. Energy field is there. Money shot onto Electrician. He takes the fall. Draconis with the Token of Life is still standing strong, though. Going to be manning up on the Engineer, and Engineer is taking some damage. Dragon actually goes down, though. Flint Beast was able to put out a lot of damage onto him, and now the melee barracks in some trouble. Going to be falling very, very soon here. Minot's up in 15 seconds with his portal key. Quake onto Draconis. He's at half-life. Another push tick forward. And will Draconis actually fall right here? Flame Breath onto Flint Beastwood, and Flint's actually going to be the one that falls. Empowering and Flight will be able to get Draconis on out of there. So in the end, traded Electrician for a melee Rax, 4 kills, 5 kills actually, and a buyback. Yeah, Complexity is pretty damn happy with that trade. 614 gold per minute on Tempest, as we see a Mighty Blade picked up on Glacius. When your supports start picking up Mighty Blades, you know you're kind of in trouble. The Mighty Blade there, most likely going to be working on a Shrunken Head. I've seen Nova actually finish a Portal Key Shrunken Head before, and that is a scary, scary Glacius. When you're level 16 with a Portal Key Shrunken Head, it gets absolutely scary. So we'll see if that's what Franzi is going for here. The Luna's picked up a portal key of her own, so going to be able to get in there and use the Emerald Red, Emerald Lightning to get those big 4 or 5 second stuns on some of these players. And a very, very unconventional choice, but not one that I necessarily disagree with. Luna can very much so make use of those heavy mobility items. The portal key, and of course the Tablet of Command. Getting into the correct position can be all that matters for a support, actually. Being in the correct spot can be the difference between life and death, certainly. So maybe that pickup is not so strange after all. Along with the Elder Parasite here for Hammerstorm. He picks that one up. And will be very, very happy to be attacking faster in those fights and also regenning a little bit. When we saw him initiate there on Minets in that last fight, he did take a lot of counter damage from, just from auto attacks, really. And Draconis might actually be in a little bit of a shaky position here. Minets could go in there, but the Glacial Blasts won't be available because of the Nullstone. He will just have to use the Elemental Void instead. Perhaps looking for somebody else. There, in fact, is the Glacial Blast onto Draconis. Man's up, though. Shrunken Head going out and Dragon just kills Tempest. Flip Beastwood in some trouble. Keg goes out, breaks the grip, but no, he's going to be going down as well. Engineer gets 3-shot by Hammerstorm. Vote to concede going up. Hamraxis just gets disintegrated, and Complexity finishes that one off. Zai goes in, drops the Kelp Field, and will try to get out of there. Hammerstorm still going to be chasing as the Complexity team wants to get the kill onto Mr. Ludwig. Nice take cover, though. Zai, will he be able to escape? Portal Key up, uses the Shell Surf, going to be able to juke once right there. Portal Key still up, uses the take cover. There's the Portal Key, and will he be able to TP on out of there, or will he get chased down? Looks like everybody but B-Kid still has left the game. B-Kid wants this kill, and B-Kid will activate the Galvanize. Will he be able to get it? Will he be able to? Zai looks like he's going to be able to get it. Well played, the B-Kid. Puts the cherry on top of the cake right there and gets the kill onto Zai. So well played by Complexity. Able to take game number 2 in this Scrim series. And guys, we'll see if we're going to be going to a game number 3 right now, or perhaps going to be doing some Sound Blaster Heroes League action. I'll let you know right away. But thank you for joining me for game number 2 in this Scrim series. This is Colecast Presents Scrimcast Live. Complexity taking on Trademark Esports right now, and I'm your casting host, Beef. So guys, huge shout out to Complexity and all the sponsors. Without their support, this would not be possible. You guys wouldn't be watching these games right now. So go check them out at ComplexityGaming.com, and of course, make sure to support our sponsors: QPAD, PNY, Origin, Sound Blaster, Creative, Twitch, and G8 Brand. Well, part of that includes watching the Sound Blaster Heroes League a little bit later on today. Whether or not we're going into another scrim right now, yet to be decided, but there will be some coverage of the Sound Blaster Heroes League a little bit later on today. So make sure to tune in and watch that. Guys, we'll be right back with the next game. Don't go anywhere.